Okay, so welcome back to Grey Area. My name is Luca, and today I'm very happy to welcome RYBO to the show. So how are you doing? How are you feeling today?
I'm doing good, man. Finally out of this COVID and a little post-op here, so feeling good. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Yeah, no, happy to have the opportunity to speak to you today for sure. Um, Lots of
Yeah.
questions I'm looking forward to asking you. Most of them are all based around origin story type stuff. So yeah, let's just get right into it.
Dive into it.
So thinking back to childhood, were you a musical child, or did you kind of gravitate towards music later in life?
No, I was always pretty musical. I grew up with a piano in the house. Of course, I didn't get the lessons. My sister did instead, which I wish I took them as like a toddler. That would have been great. But I got a guitar when I was maybe about 12 years old. I only took one lesson and then learned how to read tabs. And from there on, I taught myself how to play guitar. Would always noodle around on the piano down in the living room. And then I had a bunch of neighbors, or a couple neighbors, maybe two or three, that they had one of them in particular had a drum set in their garage. I'd bring my guitar over there and we'd just jam out some like horrible Black Sabbath or something like that. And yeah, basically I've always been pretty musical. Not like as like genius musical, like just hear a song and play it or anything like that. But yeah, I've always had fun. I mostly found fun in it, really, instead of like someone breathing down my neck, like, okay, you gotta go to piano lessons. And so yeah, I've always been pretty musical.
Cool, very cool. And when it comes to dance music,
Mm-hmm.
when did you first start loving dance music? Roughly
So
when was that?
probably not till like 16, 17, I started getting into it. Maybe got a CD from a friend that stayed in my car. I was like, oh, okay. And I remember listening to some dance music driving around when I was like 16. I was like, how the hell do they make this? Like it's not conventional instruments. And like I was just like kind of flabbergasted by how they make these electrical sounds and stuff. And I kind of did some research and saw is all like synthesizers and drum machines and computers. And at the time, my sister was in college. I was still in high school, and she had a MacBook. And I got into GarageBand, and I started noodling around on there. And I was like, oh, so this is how you can make a electronic beat with the computer. And so that's kind of how it really like sparked my interest in dance music.
Okay, yeah. And I remember you, so you're mentioning about these first CDs you had and dance music
Uh-huh.
and stuff like that. Can you remember the first producers and
It was Daft
artists that
Punk.
you said? Daft Punk, yeah,
Daft Punk
no,
Around the
I'm the
World was
same.
like the number one track on this one CD my buddy left in there, and you pop it in, it's just around the world, around the world.
Yeah,
So
no,
yeah, that was definitely, and then also like Sandstorm, of course, just like all that, or Zombie Nation, just that 90s real famous electronic dance music, really.
mhm. Yeah, no, I'm the same, and particularly when it comes to Daft Punk, I
Yeah,
completely agree. It's one of the all-time, never
100%.
gets old, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I'm bored, sometimes I'll go on YouTube and just watch some of their old music videos and stuff, and it's just so timeless.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, completely agree. Um, cool. And when it comes to you know, dreaming about pursuing music full time,
Mhm.
um, can you remember when you first started doing that? When did you first start dreaming about pursuing music full time?
Probably after going to like my first rave, maybe. Um, I I went to, I think it was 2008. Yeah, like right when I turned 18. Um, and I remember coming back to a buddy's house after going to the rave and like going to sleep and just like thinking about it and being like, man, I think I could do this. I think I could make some dance music and, you know, like start DJing. Well, actually at that time I was already messing around with I think Serato at the time. My buddy had it, and I did not get it at all, and it was just like a whole foreign language to me. But definitely after that first rave, I just thought to myself, I was like, maybe I should just give this a go. And basically that's what I did. I at the time I was making mostly hip hop beats for friends to rap on, and I switched over and tried making some dance music then, and basically from there on, like I like you said, when the dream started, that's kind of when it happened for me.
Hey, very cool. And when it comes to like other careers, did you ever consider pursuing any other careers, or was it always kind of tunnel vision, dance music career?
At that time, right after high school, I was working construction.
Okay.
And I grew up, my dad had his own construction company, but he retired when I was probably right around 18, and I wasn't working for him. I was working for one of his buddies doing underground work, and I thought maybe that's probably what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I was making good money at 18. You know, I knew the trade. But then during 2008 was during the real bad recession, and I got laid off, and a bunch of all my other coworkers got laid off, and the construction work just was non-existent. So I ended up going back to school for music, for recording arts, and ended up moving up to LA, and that's really what started the whole journey for me, really. So that, or I also, when I was younger, I wanted to be a firefighter.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I was probably in junior high or stuff, but that never happened.
Oh God, very interesting.
Yeah.
And so moving on to like your music itself then, of which of course there's so many questions you could ask, but I wanted to ask you, when it comes to your music, you're a very skilled house producer. But did you ever consider experimenting with different genres of music, experimental or otherwise, or has it always been house music's been your biggest passion? You've always wanted to make house and that's it?
No, definitely. Like I said, I started out making hip hop productions, like instrumental beats. Big influence growing up was like Ninth Wonder, Dilla, and like all that sample based hip hop, kind of boom bap MPC stuff. And so I always have a love for that. When I get bored of making house music, I'll go make some hip hop beats and stuff, just to mess around, just for myself, really.
Still now
today, yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, me and my friends will just rap on them for fun. Nothing's released or anything. I have them in a private SoundCloud somewhere, and go listen to them every once in a while. But also, like, I've made some drum and bass tracks before. I started out after music school. I was interning for a while. I was interning for Ludacris's producer, and I was doing a lot of pop stuff as well with them. That was mainly pop, and like honestly some folk music, some kind of country in there, but I really did not like working on that side of the music, really. That's really when, for me, I had a whole room in a studio with all my equipment in there, and I just like clicked for me, and I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And then I really took producing house music and DJing seriously from at that time. So yeah, I sometimes I get bored making house music, and I'll venture off and make whatever I'm feeling that day. But for the most part, it's mostly house music.
No, that's really eye-opening, actually. Like the fact that you
Yeah.
make that as well now. Yeah, the hip hop beats and
Yeah.
everything else
Yeah.
that you've experimented with. Yeah, really, really eye-opening.
It's cool. Yeah, it's fun. Like if you're not having fun with it, at the end of the day, it just turns into a 9 to 5, really. You know.
That's a good point. Yeah, I never considered that. Definitely.
Mm.
And so the next thing I want to ask you about was if you think back to your first gig, your very first one.
Okay.
What was that like? You know, how old were you? How do you think it went? What's your perspective on that now? How was that first gig for you?
So I'm trying to think of. I know it was probably pretty shitty. My very first gig. Um, I my very okay. Well, so probably one of my very first gigs was a wedding, but I don't think we want to talk about that one. But let's say like a first actual gig. My first like actual gig was at the Avalon in Hollywood, and it was at the time it was 19 or 18 and up, I believe. So you'd have to get the big X's on your wrists if you're 18 going in, and it was for Control. That was the party name, and it was like real, like it was during the like blog house days, like electro dirty Dutch music was in, and I was playing one of the rooms. It was for Gotta Dance Dirty. They were a big blog band, and that's when it was really cool. I mean, I was only playing for probably, the room could probably only fit like 25 people in it, but it was just really cool to experience like that side of the club, being a DJ, and you know, just man, what am I trying to get at here? But yeah, it's being able to, I just lost my track of thought. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
But okay, yeah. So the Avalon, it was very cool. Like it's going from playing like weddings and stuff, like really shitty weddings, and then like some other small gigs. Being able to play at like a awesome club like the Avalon was really eye-opening, and playing alongside like bigger artists on the bill, having your name on the flyer and stuff, it just like kind of was a confidence booster, and you know, it was special to me, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And when you say it's a confidence booster, I completely see what you mean. But were you nervous before your first gig?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely was nervous. But during that time I had buddies that I was DJing with a lot of back to back and stuff. So it was like kind of, we're all bringing each other up together. So that was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can imagine I think that whole back to back element must definitely help boost your confidence as well. Yeah, I can imagine.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And where I grew up in San Diego, and I was like kind of in the outskirts of San Diego, North County. So we didn't really have, like, if you wanted to go to a big club, you'd have to go down south like an hour to San Diego, and I wouldn't go down there that much. And plus, most of the clubs were 21 and up there. So going up to LA to one of these big clubs in Hollywood for the first time and being able to play at it at 18 years old, like a brand new DJ, was really cool, you know.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, definitely. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
And the next thing I wanted to ask you about was pretty big question. I'm sure there's a few different things that come to mind, but so far in your career as a musician, what would you say has been your proudest achievement, if you had to try and narrow it down?
Definitely one of them would be starting my record label that I co-own with Lubelski, Percomaniacs. I've always wanted an outlet to put out my own music whenever I wanted, and also being able to curate a label and like a sound that kind of follows the label by picking and choosing up and coming artists and some of our favorite artists, having them remix our tracks and tracks we sign. That's been a really big goal of mine. And also just I worked with Jamie Jones for a while, for a couple 5 years or so. When he lived in LA, I was managing his studio here, and I got to pick his brain a lot. And I would always ask him and be like, oh, so I noticed you only release on Hot Creations, you don't do much else on other labels. It's like, yeah, because like I want full control of my releases and stuff. And I really took that to thought, and I was like, well, that's a really good idea coming from one of the biggest DJs and inspirational DJs for me, at least. And so me and one of my best friends got together and started our own label, and basically that's been a huge goal of mine, and for him as well. So that's probably one of the best things that's come out of my DJ career, I think.
No, it makes sense completely. I mean, it's a really admirable thing to have your own label.
Yeah.
I completely get everything you're saying. So going forward, what would you say your biggest ambition is as an artist? Would it be something to do with the label, or maybe it's a combination of things? What would you say?
Yeah, probably a combination. Definitely the label. I would love to see the label throwing parties like all over the States, over international will be amazing. But there's definitely some artists we'd like to get on the label. There's also some events I'd like to play, some labels I'd like to release on. But yeah, also maybe getting more international would be a big one for me as well. I think that's what everyone's kind of striving for in the United States, is getting over across seas, over to Ibiza and, Germany, UK as well. So that would be that's a big striving goal for me as well.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, and I mean, with what you're saying about the international ambitions as well, that's something that I'm sure would resonate with producers all over the place.
Definitely.
And I'm sure if you ask a lot of UK or German producers, I'm sure they'd say the same the other way around, right? They'd be like, oh, I'd love to. Yeah, no, it makes sense completely.
That's what it's all about. Love of music and traveling, really. If you don't love traveling, getting into DJing, like, I don't know.
It's probably not the right career for you.
Exactly.
So next thing I want to ask you about, so moving on to Desert Hearts.
Yeah.
So what's it like being a part of the Desert Hearts family? Because reading up on it myself, it just seems so cool. So I mean, what's it like being a part of that Desert Hearts family?
Well, you said it best. It's a family, definitely. There's ups and downs, but mostly ups. It's just they're all my best friends, so it's like, a bunch of brothers hanging out, basically. And there's a lot of fun to be had, a lot of debauchery. But definitely I owe a lot to them for opening my eyes to like the whole burner culture and stuff. If it wasn't for like Mikey and Porky and Lee showing me before, this was even before like Desert Hearts really was really big, or like even had their first party, they would take us to all the regional burn parties that were like close to us, and just really show us the whole Burning Man culture. The parties that they throw are just, it's all about the more you put in, the more you get out. You know, it's not really just, all right, we're throwing this party and we're just gonna, do the bare minimum. We're just making money. Really, they really put their heart and soul into every party that they throw, and it's just they really care about their fans. It's basically, like, it sounds cheesy, but it's all about the love,
Mhm.
that they put out there. But yeah, nothing but good things about them, and been releasing on them ever since the labels came out, and I plan on releasing with them forever,
Mhm.
basically.
Amazing, yeah. And when it comes to the festival, the Desert Hearts festival, um, again, seems equally incredible. What do you think it is that sets it apart from other festivals? Because it seems quite unique to me.
It is very unique. I think what it is, there are festivals that are pretty close to it, like Lightning in a Bottle and Shambhala and stuff, but which sets them apart is definitely the they were one of the first kind, I hate to say it, but like, bring the Burning Man culture kind of, I wouldn't say mainstream, but more accessible to
Mm,
people that are afraid to go to Burning Man, maybe, or just don't have the money to go to Burning Man, because it's that takes a lot. So I think that's really what sets it apart, is they really embrace the Burning Man ethics, and make it accessible to just more the average festival goer, I'd say.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense actually, definitely. And so the next thing I was to ask you about was I wanted to ask a bit about the West Coast and LA house and techno scene.
Yeah.
Um, so when it comes to the scene there, how do you think it differs from other electronic scenes across the country in terms of, what the vibes like, what the clubs are like? Do you think it's a bit different to other house and techno kind of clubs across the country, scenes across the country,
A
or
little bit.
yeah?
When I was living in downtown LA, most of the parties we would go to were just all underground warehouse, like illegal raves and stuff. And it doesn't really get much better than that, because the music never shuts off, and you have a lot more freedom. You can go from warehouse to warehouse. So there's a lot of that. And most of the other markets I've been to, I haven't really seen it as crazy as LA does it, but New York is pretty close. But the music scene here it's always been really good. The clubs, some of my favorite clubs are here. Um, but I would say it's definitely one of the best. Recently we've had a lot of people move out of here. A lot of people move to Florida and New York. So it has died down a little bit. And also the whole COVID thing kind of just shook everything up a bit. And I'm sure it's the same around all over the country, and maybe even where you are.
Mm.
But I've always loved it. It's always been my favorite to come back to after being on tour or something, playing in LA. It's the vibe here is always par none.
Mhm. Cool. And when it comes to like reflecting back on the past year, of all the festivals and club events that you went to, do you have a favorite of all the ones you went to, or is it a
This
bit
past
hard to?
year.
Yeah, out of last year, do you have a favorite festival out of all the ones you went to?
Let me see. Oh, well, I did a lot of I did two, or was it three? I did two Insomniac parties. And playing for them, it was really cool. I played Nocturnal and Beyond Wonderland, and it was just cool to be a part of like that huge mega production. Um and just like getting your own trailer and stuff, which was really cool. But probably Beyond Wonderland was probably my favorite this year. I didn't play too many huge festivals this year because of the whole COVID thing, but from this past year, Beyond Wonderland was my favorite. It's just cool, like being at that giant rave basically, but there's so much different music out there. There's the dubstep, fucking drum and bass, house music, EDM, all that. But like seeing if you play to that mass of people, you're definitely gonna gain new fans and open up other people to new genres, which is really cool. So yeah, that was probably Nocturnal was probably my favorite event that I played last year.
For
sure.
Very cool. And do you have a favorite out of all the DJs you saw perform last year?
Yeah.
Is there one particular performance or set that really stands out to you? I'm sure you've seen tons of amazing in 12 months, but
there's gotta be I mean, Jamie Jones is always great. I saw him at Space. He was really good. Another one was Honey Dijon was really sick. Saw her at Space, Miami, and like literally every track just so good, and her DJ skills are amazing. Like it blew me away. I was just sitting there just like, I'm not leaving at all. And definitely one of my favorite sets that I've ever heard, for sure. So probably Honey Dijon was really good.
There's my eyes lit up straight away because me and all my friends, we've all said this. We are dying to see her live for sure.
Really? Have you not seen her yet?
Not yet. No, haven't had the chance. We're keeping our eyes peeled for next time she's in London, because like you've said, it's just like the videos on YouTube of her performances are just like mind blowing, just insane.
Like the shit she was doing on the decks, like I couldn't even comprehend. I was like, whoa, like just like catching these crazy loops and stuff. Like it was amazing. It was definitely mind blowing for sure. One that I'd really like to see though, I'm really into the live shit, and like I've put together a live set, just haven't brought it on the road, but I really want to see Matthew Johnson live one of these days. So hopefully that happens one of these days. But
I'd agree actually as well. Another big master for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that insight. So one more question I want to ask you before we move on to the next section of things is about whether you can name a track that was particularly influential in your journey in dance music. There might be a few, but
okay. So yeah, definitely Milo Drop the Pressure is definitely like such a classic track, and it was one of, when I first got into DJing, it was one of the first tracks that I heard that it was like real classic and wasn't too like abrasive, because the stuff that I first started listening to and getting into was pretty much like was Dutch house kind of stuff, like you said, kind of EDM. But I heard Milo Drop the Pressure and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And it was an old ass track, and that really got me into more classic house in a way. And from where I started DJing, that really kind of shifted my genre more into just straight house and then more kind of classic house. And then now today I found an edit of Milo Drop the Pressure, but it's Milo Drop the Pressure, Dr. Groove versus Dr. Groove, and it's literally been one of my favorite tracks I've been playing this year. I'll play it like at the end of my tracks, and it's just a sick mashup between Drop the Pressure and the other track, Dr. Pressure, I think. And it's kind of like this disco-y meets classic house. So I'd say that's probably one of my most influential tracks throughout my whole career. It's just really kind of shaped the way the music I play, I guess, and I would like to produce. So yeah, probably that track.
No, it sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I have to check it out for sure afterwards.
yeah, I could send you it. I could send you the mashup as well. Like it's just definitely one of my favorites. I'll email it to you.
Yeah, thank you. No, I'd love to hear it for sure. So what we're going to move on to just before the end is the
All right.
speed round, which is just a bit of fun. It's about 10 questions, and the idea is you just answer them as soon as possible without giving them too much thought, basically.
First thing that pops in your head, basically.
First thing that pops into your head, that's what you tell me. Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay.
So let's get started. Start off with Elvis or the Beatles?
The Beatles.
Beatles. Hardcore techno or classical music?
Hardcore techno.
Logic or Ableton?
Ableton. Even though I started with Logic, but
Okay.
Ableton. Yeah.
Yeah. Snowboarding or surfing?
Ooh, that's a tough one, man. I guess I have to go surfing. I didn't grow up on a mountain.
I was hoping to throw you with that one. I was like,
yeah, that one's really hard.
Yeah. So would you rather never be able to go out during the day or never be able to go out during the night?
Never. I'd rather not go out during the day.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. That's a tough one, man. But I guess, you know what? No, I'd have to flip that. I'm more of a night owl.
Okay.
I could sleep all day and then go out at night.
That's true. That would work.
Yeah.
Next one. Some of these are going to get quite silly.
Do it. I love them.
Would you rather have a child every year for 20 years or never have any children at all?
Oh man. That is hilarious. Let's go with a child every year.
For 20 years.
Sure. You know what? Let's do it.
Why not? Bring them on tour. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I could have a whole team there, you know? Turn one into an agent, manager, tour manager.
Yeah, true.
We're good. And then my wife could have a team behind her too.
Yeah, true. There you go.
Yeah.
Would you rather have to wear every shirt inside out or every pair of pants backward?
Ooh, shirt inside out. That's easy.
Okay. Would you rather be alone all your life or surrounded by really annoying people?
Alone all my life.
Yeah. Would you rather be the funniest person in the room or the smartest person in the room?
Funniest.
And finally, would you rather be able to speak any language or be able to communicate with animals?
Speak any language.
Okay, very cool. Well, thank you so much.
All right.
I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's been brilliant.
I did too, man.
I just wanted to ask you before you headed off if you've got anything you want to share with viewers.
Well, the label Percomaniacs, we got a bunch of releases. I got a release coming up as well this spring, so keep your eyes out there. Also Desert Hearts is end of April, something around there. But it's been 2 years since we've done Desert Hearts, so that's going to be really awesome. I'd like to plug that. And yeah, just keep your eyes out for some of my shows coming up this spring.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. It's been really great.